Hey everyone, it's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today on the show, we have our great friend Barb from the Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center. How you doing today, Barb?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much, Jerry. I appreciate being on the show.
Oh, we love having you on the show. I was telling you, you've got such a great smile and you're always smiling. And it's going to be really easy for me to pick out a thumbnail where we're both smiling because you're going to make me smile this whole show.
All right.
So I always ask, I don't prepare you for everything. So I've got a surprise question for you. Is that your art behind you? Is it someone else's art?
That is a good question. Okay, so you can see a couple of my pieces back here.
Yeah.
And then I also have my sock creature I made recently. There we are.
Yeah.
For the gallery as part of our sock creature movement. Her name is Adriana, and she has Google eyes and sharp teeth, and she's a vegetarian and she works out hard. You can see she has hair but she controls it with a headband.
So I had a textile artist on the show last week, and she called that a soft sculpture.
Yes.
And I had never heard that phrase.
We're doing these as part of our pandemic initiatives and just offering creativity for people with sock creature kits and videos. And it's been a big hit. But yes, above me, there are also a couple of pieces of my fine art as well.
Nice. I wish I could see it in more detail, but it looks great. So why don't we jump into you telling us about yourself and about your projects? And I leave it abstract because there's obviously the Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center, but I'm sure you're working on your own art and stuff like that too.
Yes, the pandemic has been, I think, an opportunity for everyone to reimagine their organizations. And I've been so grateful for the team we have at the gallery. Katrina Daniels on our staff team, and Michelle Carlson, our education director. We also have an unbelievable operations manager, Kyle Richard. And that leadership team, along with a growing support staff, has really, they did the pivot to pirouette during the pandemic. And initially we just, I'm sure that for everyone, that day when the state shut down for the first time will be burned forever in our memory. What that day felt like, I remember taking home my computer and saying to my husband, we're going to have to build an office in my bedroom. And I think a lot of people went through that, and during those first several weeks took the time to figure out what it's going to take. What will it take to continue bringing the arts to the people in our community? How do we fulfill our mission to provide, public awareness, education, and enjoyment of the visual arts by promoting the works of Michigan artists? And it took us a minute. It did. And we weren't sure we were going to be able to do our public art program, which is, the crowning glory in some ways. So the work that we do to bring the arts outside of the gallery walls and to be working on the river trail where people are at, bringing the sculpture there. But then through Executive Order 77 at the time, we found out landscape workers were allowed outside to do their business. And so we were able to put on our public art program with 20 works of art on the river trail. And then we did some other really incredible mobilization. We did essentially art fairs out in front of the gallery when it was only safe to be outdoors.
And so you and I started kind of working together a little bit on the one of the subcommittees you guys invited me into. I'm not on the committee, but I'm kind of like an advisor for a minute. The Financial Arts and Culture Commission piece. I can't remember the exact name, but I didn't know you well, or, we had just crossed paths a little bit before then, but I really think you're doing great work. But I also don't know when my first perception of the Lansing Art Gallery is it's a building, it's an art gallery. You go in, you're supposed to be quiet, and it's almost like a museum. But I don't think that's it.
I think a lot of people think that about galleries and museums too, and we're kind of for a long time we were a misnomer because it was Lansing Art Gallery, right? And now it's Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center, which tells a little bit more of the story because we've been doing educational activities for, so we're 55. We've been doing we've formally been doing education for over 35, probably closer to 40 years in a variety of different capacities. The first summer art camp in the area, you name it, we've been doing it. We've had a high school show that's, I think, in its 37th year. We're really proud of the work we do to bring the arts to people and to bring people to the arts. So whether that means bringing the arts education into the Lansing School District or just offering a free opportunity for people to come and enjoy the space, that's the way we feel we can do that. And we do want to change that paradigm that you have to be like quiet and maybe frightened when you're in a gallery space. It can be a wonderful, joyful experience. And I always say too, the work that we carry, it ranges a lot. It runs the gamut in terms of theme and style. And, they're the best of the best Michigan artists. That's what we carry. But they're not always pretty pictures that go above a sofa, although sometimes they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're pretty. And almost always they're just, aesthetically incredible works of art, but they're also art for art's sake. So we have artists telling a lot of different narratives in Michigan right now, things that aren't always attractive or beautiful, things that are difficult. Our George Floyd mural on the River Trail was something that was really well received by the community members at large. And then, we struggled because we had to redo that work of art due to vandalism.
Yeah. That when I kayaked through the river or down the river, and when I saw that, it was breathtaking. It was impactful to me, and I know that can be a played out word sometime, but that really, I'm an empath, man. I cry all the time, and it really brought tears to my eyes. And so amazing.
The city's been a great partner. The city of Lansing is a partner in the River Trail. Through the Parks and Rec department, they help us with that project every year. And this is the fourth. It's about I think it's 11th year of public art and 4th year of Art Path. So the work has just grown more and more. Like you said, impactful, really strong engagement. People are looking for the work and excited about it. And it's also something we know we'll do in 2021, regardless of anything else. During the pandemic, we're pretty positive we can make that happen.
Yeah. I almost on every show that we've done, and whether it's with a high tech company or whoever the guest is, the arts always come up. I think in all 86 shows, or today's number 86, the arts always come up. And we've talked about this before, about the financial impact of the arts, or how even the way our screen is displayed and designed right now was done by somebody that was probably a visual artist of some sort. What do you think about, how do you benchmark Lansing with other communities? Because I've got some thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours.
Wow. I think the mayor's creation of the Mayor's Arts and Culture Commission is a good step in the right direction. I think that those of us in the arts or creative sector have known for many, many moons how powerful the arts are as an economic powerhouse, and what placemaking, when that term kind of came up 10 or 15 years ago, we were very eager to jump on that bandwagon. I think that we always want to be very careful that we are in any way doing gentrification, and that our placemaking involves all the people who are invested in the project. That's a really important part of doing sort of arts and talent and economic development right, is by listening and hearing people's voices. So that's part of what we've been trying to do through the Mayor's Arts and Culture Commission, creating sort of a SWOT analysis of what our assets look like in the city now, and then what they could look like for the future if they were shepherded and buttressed into something even more visible. And I think the Mayor's Arts and Culture Commission and the committees like the one where you serve for talent and economic development, they legitimize our work, right?
Yeah.
So just the fact that we have a commission says that it's a value. And the value proposition is what I'm always getting at. Why the arts matter and why they should be funded.
Yeah. It's so one of the comments I wanted to make to you is about, like, I commuted back and forth to Dubai for 12 years. So Dubai is like, one of these world global leading cities and everything that they do, from building islands shaped like palm trees to just all kinds of, the only 7-star hotel in the world and all of that. And I didn't think they did the arts right. Like, they had art sort of, but I was always running into people, and I was really immersed in this city. I knew everybody. I was all over the place, and I rarely ran into an artist. I know it was super weird, and then in Lansing, I can't turn around without bumping into an artist. Speaking of bumping into an artist, Brandon Navin said, "Hey, Barb and Jerry." So shout out to Brandon.
Good to see you, I guess, or see you. Good to see you.
We can see you, Brandon. Your Alexa has a camera on it. And I'm look like a weirdo. So anyways, I think Lansing is just bursting at the seams of art. And you remember that day Jose talked about how proud we should be of Lansing. And he's spot on. And I'm so proud to have an Arts and Culture Commission. I'm so proud to have someone like you kind of churning it and keeping it going. And there's so many of us that need you. It's incredible. That's my painting there.
All right.
So that's fertility goddess that I paint very often. So,
and then
anyways,
sculptures behind you, are you referencing that work?
I am. So those were purchased in, usually in Asia and coming straight from Ghana or someplace like that. So those are my sculpture collection, but I collect that sculpture, that particular idol, and paint her very often as well.
Yeah.
So, and then if you see that one in the middle that's kind of blue, that's a piece that I did with my older daughter. I'm not going to take out the energy. She passed away of a fentanyl overdose, but we did that when she was 3, and I always let her, stain everything in the house with paint. It didn't matter. We always called those scars, and we were proud of our scars.
Oh my goodness. Kids' art is the best. And during the pandemic, I occasionally get drawings from my youngest niece, Sophie, who's 3, and occasionally includes me in her family drawings, which is the best ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that. So you asked at one point in our preview if I was working on art, and I have this weekend I got, as we do, kind of obsessively focused on a drawing of Sophie. Sophie sent me a drawing, and I felt like I needed to send her, my 3-year-old niece, I wanted to send her back a drawing. But then once I got into the drawing, 12 hours into the drawing, it became more and more detailed, and it's something I feel pretty proud of. It's the first time I've drawn anything realistic in a number of years, and so it's like riding a bike or starting to run again. Right, my muscles were needing to be flexed, but it felt good. And I'm also excited about a project with the Williamston Theater. We just found out that they've received some funding for their fire project, and it's Firewalk in Williamston. Emily Sutton Smith is going to be narrating that project, and it's a historical project. So I'll be creating a series of paintings dealing with the fires that happened historically in Williamston. And
That's awesome.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, that'll be cool.
So we talked about the Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center, but my question said you and your projects. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about you, because we always want to know where you're from and all of, your Lansing ties and all of that. Where were you born and raised?
It's funny because this answers one of my security questions, right?
Oh. What's your mother's maiden name?
I was born at Sparrow Hospital in Lansing, and grew up in this area. Moved away for several years and then came back about 15 years ago.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you where you moved away to?
Yes. I lived I went to Kalamazoo College for school. I lived abroad, and then in Spain, in Madrid. And then I moved back to Detroit and lived in Detroit for a number of years, which is where I met my husband.
Nice. So did you go to high school in Lansing?
In DeWitt, just north
in DeWitt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're a Panther.
We were Panthers, and we had a flaming panther on the football field that shot fire when a touchdown was made. Total testimonial to the Midwest and the love of football and music through band in association. Yeah. Right? I mean, the band was incredible too.
I had a bunch of wrestler friends that went to DeWitt. I don't know. I think I'm older than you, so we won't talk age.
Let's see. I'm thinking I graduated in 94.
Yeah. I graduated in 84.
No, you did not.
I did, from Lansing Eastern.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I have a bunch of wrestlers too, so I thought, maybe we know the same wrestlers.
My Jim Cenadinas is one that he's in your Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Yeah, he's actually in this photo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Wrestling.
That's him and I wrestling in the All-Star meet one year. He was from DeWitt. So anyways, that's weird. You're on this tangent. Don't take me on these tangents. So I wanted to say, you said Kalamazoo College. Mm-hmm. That's an amazing school, isn't it?
It's just like a little idyllic island of academia with cobblestone streets, and it's the only place I applied for college. I was just putting all my, we're not supposed to say eggs in one basket anymore. I was working really hard and put all my energy toward that application for Kalamazoo College, and thank goodness I got in.
Yeah, I didn't know so much about that college until recently, like in the last 5 or 10 years. But it's just an amazing place. I mean, it's not like just some random little school that anybody can get into. It's a very competitive and very, very good.
Some of the discourse we had there was in the classes. I mean, I've never experienced anything like it before, since, just truly exceptional, brilliant scholars who go on to change the world in so many different ways. They're just led to change the world and in a positive way. And then I did my grad school at U of M Flint for arts administration as a non-traditional learner. So I went back as a almost 40-something and did that, and that was a great thing too, because I wanted to legitimize the work I was doing. I wanted to be sure that I really knew who I was as a director, and that I knew best practices for everything from HR to marketing. So that felt like a galvanizing factor for me.
Awesome. Hey, so I got the crowd chiming in. I don't know if you remember Chris Pruitt, but he goes as the happiest homeless person, and he had all kinds of art or all kinds of cardboard signs.
Yes.
And we actually displayed about 100 of his signs here for a show for him right when we first moved into Lansing. And so he said he'd like to revisit. He meant to say revisit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris, just playing around. And the other thing he said is his sister used to teach dance at Kalamazoo College.
Wow.
So,
Well,
yeah, a lot.
if you investigate the connections, how much we can have, in common.
Yeah. I think that's, with every damn day, being radically inclusive, just trying to get as many shows done, and have these interesting conversations with great people that have great stories, that serendipity keeps going, which the Fledge really thrives on, how we're all connected in some way. And it's kind of the web of life. So we got to take care of each other.
Yeah. And to answer Chris's question, we're always open for collaboration. We kind of look at it as cross promotion and potential for collaboration and potential for partnering. So it depends on whether that's, just sharing of information about one another's projects, or truly working together on something, or becoming a long-term partner. Like, for example, we partner with Peckham, and we have a long-term relationship with Peckham with a program we call the Arts Alliance to help people get access to the arts and artists through that work. Right now we're looking at how to get them art supplies, among other things, during the pandemic. But absolutely, yes. Yes, Chris, reach out. Shoot me an email, Barb at LansingArtGallery.org.
I'll get it to him. Okay. Yeah. So I think we kind of know what your mission is. What's something you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
Well, you hit it on the head when we were having our preliminary conversation. I'm a water junkie. So, I don't know how people go like a half an hour without water. I probably drink 10 to 12 cups of water a day. Some people think there might be something wrong. Like, do we have symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis here going on? But regardless of all of that, the water, I think, helps keep my mind clear. Mm-hmm. And it is, aside from the practicality of it, I'm a Pisces. So I love to be in and near and with and consuming water. It's like I'm always thirsty for water experiences. And I fantasize about going back to the water pretty regularly. Like, even today, I was like, maybe we could drive to the water next weekend and just look at the waves on Lake Michigan.
I was going to ask, do you think that's one of the reasons you keep coming back to Michigan, is because we're the Great Lakes state?
Oh, I love Michigan. My mom, I took about a year and traveled with a group of singers, and I traveled all over the country in a bus. And it was at the time where I was saying, I'm never going to live in Michigan for the rest of my life. I'm going to, it might be Colorado, or it might be North Carolina. I want that weather. And I came back during the summer, and I was saying to my mom, it's beautiful here. It's so beautiful. I forgot how beautiful Michigan is. It's just lush and verdant and green, everything's so green and beautiful for that time when we have things that are alive outside. And then, yes, absolutely, the water. I remember when we went with the tour bus of, essentially kids from all over the country, and we looked at Lake Michigan. One of our girls from the Keys, Carrie, she was like, no, that's an ocean. No, it's Lake Michigan. It's just choppy today because of the wind. And she was like, I'm pretty sure it's an ocean. Like, how those experiences are. But yeah, for sure about the water. Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for that, the every damn day. And I think that's a very good, healthy advice, and very practical advice, like you said. But engage with our water, and don't buy Nestle, but that's a different show.
Purifier.
Yeah. Use our water. We're the stewards of our water.
Yeah.
So I always daisy chain the shows together. And yesterday on the show, we had Melissa, who has done the social gap experiment. And we talked a little bit about that before the show started. And she has a question for you. What legacy or what do you want to leave behind during the pandemic as we hopefully are, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we might be coming out of this, sometime next year? What do you want to leave behind as your legacy, as your mark, as your scar? Anything?
First, can I say I love that you daisy chain the interviews. I think it's fantastic. And
Do you want to know why?
Oh, okay. Yes, because I have an idea, but I think that's right.
Well, because the diversity from the crowd will ask questions that me as a single person won't think about. And so you guys ask the most wonderful questions of each other, and it creates, you just have to meet the person and you meet the next person, whether you really ever meet them. And it's really the diversity of thought that I can't manage by myself. And so part of my therapy coming into the pandemic, a lot like what you were talking about in the beginning, we're a social organization. We had hundreds of people in here every day, and to get shut down was heartbreaking. And so I think part of it's my therapy of just, let's get these people talking, even if I can't get them talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's great. And I can see, just from my perspective, the continuity it helps provide a deeper level of understanding about what you're seeking to do and the guests that you have here on the show. So in terms of a legacy, I was thinking, I hope people see me as a leader who listens. I see it as a real privilege, an honor to serve the community in the way I do. And because I love to talk, and I grew up in a family of huge family with 4 sisters, getting a word in edgewise is important. And as I've grown, I think I've gotten better at thinking strategically, listening better, and working more profoundly, because both of those things are at play. So I hope our team at the gallery, and then our Michigan artists and our community in Lansing, that's what I hope they see, is how, like the way that you're doing, helping people make those connections with one another is the more profound piece of the work than for me to just share the news. Helping other people share the news is so much better.
Yeah. See, everything we do is through other people. And for you to listen and reflect that back, I actually think this is an important comment to throw up that Chris just made. So I'll read it. When we met, I felt so overwhelmed. The homeless guy meeting the director of the Lansing Art Gallery. And this interview has shown me a different you than before. From his perspective, you're so funny and animated. And I think, for somebody to just pick up on that about you so quickly, I think you're doing your legacy. I think you're leaving it behind. And my work with you has been wonderful. I mean, it's been small, because we've got so much that we're all trying to juggle. But I think you're doing a hell of a job. And I'm really proud of our arts, and you being at least one of the centers. We can have multiple centers, but you are a center to it. And you're amazing.
Thank you so much.
So,
comment too. I think when I met Chris, I was in the beginning stages of my leadership role at the gallery as the executive director, and I think I took myself a lot more seriously. I read some things about humor and how we can lead with humor. A couple of probably 2 or 3 years ago, I read a few different things in succession about authentic leadership through humor, and I do try to honor that more. I think, like, my authentic self is sort of silly. So I'm serious, but I'm silly too, and I can be both those things.
Can I tell everyone what I said to you when we first got on?
Sure.
I said that you have the most wonderful face because it is always happy and it always projecting this smile and this happiness and this energy that, I think, you didn't tell me about the authentic leadership stuff, but I'll follow you. You tell me where we're going. Tell
And
me what you need.
So I guess we're kind of more like holding hands or something together.
So we got a daisy chain. So we're tomorrow on the show is Lansing native, born and raised, Janelle. And Janelle is trying to start kind of a role-playing game where you go on a Lansing adventure. So it's called the Lansing Big Adventure or something like that. And she wants to ask you, or no, you, what question do you want to ask her?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So my question to her is, what are you most proud of during the pandemic in terms of achievements or successes that you'd like to share?
All right. And I'm going to turn that on you. So what are you most proud of?
Wow. What am I the most proud of? I think not just keeping our organization going, but turning into a place of, I would almost dare say, flourishing during the pandemic. The team has done an incredible job figuring out how to meet people where they're at. And our donors have helped keep that happening, right? I mean, we are a nonprofit organization. So the idea that the will is there and that our community believes in the work, part of how we earn that revenue is because they believe in us. And I think that's what I'm the most proud of is I feel like we are creating something that people value. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say thriving instead of flourishing, but thinking that same thing, it's a lot of communities probably, or maybe I don't know this for sure, but it would have been easy to push it to the side and say, well, this is serious. We've got all this COVID and the arts are not vital, but the arts are connecting so many people and making, giving people an outlet or giving them, some sort of feeling they get. A guy painted me a painting and gave it to me yesterday, and it's just really starting to affect me to have that painting and to see his struggle. And, it's so damn important to have art in our life.
The arts are about self-expression. They're in some ways the best expression of our humanity, how we interact with ourselves and with the world, right?
Yeah. And I really like the phrase that you'll see on memes where it talks about we are the universe expressing itself to itself. And, us as humans. But then when you put art in there, the universe has said, I want to see something pretty. I want to see something painful. I want to see something that brings my emotions out. And for that to just happen is just amazing. So I have another surprise for you. And the other surprise is I ask you to take us out. So what would you like to say to us as our parting words for the show?
Wow. To your listeners, gosh, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to tell the story of our Michigan artists and our sock creatures and our, what a journey to help people express themselves. So thank you for letting me tell that story.
And I will put all kinds of links in your description on YouTube and all of that for people to follow up with. But definitely look up the Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of it.
LinkedIn.
Go to their website, get involved, donate, make some art. We'll make a connection with Chris. but keep churning these arts, Lansing. It is one of our gems, is our art community. And Barb, you are a gem within the gem. So thank you so very much for being on the show.
Thanks, Jerry. Take care.
See you later. You too. Bye-bye.